exercise and I cut 250 calories a day, that's 500 calories in deficit a day. If I do that for a week straight, that equals a pound of fat that I will lose. On the other end, if I eat 500 calories above and beyond my maintenance, that's an extra pound of fat a week. So how does that stack up? People say, why? You know, I don't do that, but if I do an extra, if I average, on the average, an extra 100 calories a day, that's one cookie, one can of pop, on the average day. Now some days I'm under, some days I'm over, but on the average, if I average an extra 100 calories a day for a year, the numbers point to 10.42 pounds of fat, to be exact. So that's how it kind of creeps up on you. You get the glycemic roller coaster doing, and there's that famous, oh, you know, moderation, just one won't hurt me. And I see people that struggle with their weight, and all of a sudden I look at their food journal, every day they're having that treat, they're having that cookie, they're having that mocha thing over at Starbucks that's maybe 500 or 600 calories, a lot of it's sugar and fat, and they're probably averaging. This is where, like, all of a sudden every year they start packing on the weight. So I just want to throw some numbers at you, because 100 calories is not much. We all know that there's a lot of things out there that are only 100 calories and a lot more, so that's on the average. Calorie restriction typically becomes a lot easier, more natural when your body's programmed correctly. So that's my driving home point with this whole low glycemic thing. Is when you program your body, you keep your blood sugar under control, you're eating a balance of good, healthy carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, you will be less hungry, you will burn more fat, you will actually naturally restrict calories. And I actually did a study on this. A guy named Spieth did a study years ago, and he took two groups of kids. He started one kid during the day on breakfast cereal. I think it was Kellogg's, like Frosted Flakes. It was one of those sugary cereals. The other group of kids ate a vegetable omelet with fruit. And then he said the rest of the day he had them track their food. The kids that actually ate the breakfast cereal in the morning ate 80% more calories the rest of the day. The other kids didn't. They were actually able to lose weight without even really worrying about counting calories. Then he flipped the two groups around, had the other group go, just saw maybe it's this group of kids is just different. Maybe they're just more disciplined or whatever it is. Flipped them around. The kids that actually went to that were eating the omelet started eating more calories once they started eating the breakfast cereal. So the point is you got to start out your breakfast right, because this is just an example. Is when you eat the wrong things earlier in the day, it's going to set you up later in the day to eat more. And I know a lot of people, they'll start their day off and they'll eat that sugary thing and their blood sugar will drop and they'll get into work, and all of a sudden by the time nighttime comes around they get home and they're ravenous. So start the day out right, eat the right type of breakfast, eat good, you know, that's really what sets the tone for the day. Is eating the right kind of breakfast. Well, I notice when people eat a good breakfast, a good balanced breakfast, they tend to have more success later on in the day. Keep the fire stoked. Your metabolism is like a fire. Another problem I see a lot of people do is they don't eat enough throughout the day. We see that a lot. Is they eat maybe 2 times a day or maybe 3 times a day, which really isn't enough. If you think of your metabolism like a fire, what do you do with a fire to keep it going? You throw kindling on now and then. That's how eating 5 to 6 smaller meals a day is more important than eating the old 3 squares a day. And a lot of times I see people, they'll skip their afternoon snack, they'll eat a breakfast, they're in the car, they're eating breakfast on the way to work, 6 or 7 in the morning, then they'll wait 5 or 6 hours, they'll eat a lunch, maybe the lunch isn't too bad, and then all of a sudden they'll get home at night, it's been 7 hours, and guess what, they're starving. So putting a couple snacks in between lunch and dinner, in between breakfast and lunch, really helps. One, it helps level off the blood sugar, but it also helps keep you from eating more later on. It spreads your calories out throughout the day, and you're able to eat less calories, but you're eating more frequently. So it feels like you're eating more, but you're really eating less when it comes to caloric intake. I see that all the time, is that people really, when they skip their afternoon snack especially, they tend to come home and eat a really, really big dinner right before bed, and then they tend to go even after the dinner, they tend to have an evening snack, so it kind of spills over into that late night snacking of things that they shouldn't be eating. And when you look at blood sugar, you know, not only do you want to not spike it, you don't want to let it drop either. So if you start going long periods of time without eating, your blood sugar drops, and then you get really, really, really hungry. So, you know, part of that managing that blood sugar is making sure you eat something every so often, so your blood sugar doesn't drop low, and you don't get into that hunger. That's where that uncontrollable hunger comes on. So, you know, a lot of times we encourage people to keep snacks in their desk at work. Keep snacks on them, when they're going out and about, so they're not skipping, they're not going 5 or 6 hours. We typically, 3 to 4 hours is a good general range. Even you can go as low as 2. You kind of have to play with that a little bit. But skipping meals is very counterproductive when it comes to getting lean. Ways to stay in the fat burning zone, just to kind of sum it all up. Eat protein. Fat kind of takes care of itself. Fiber at each meal or snack. So you try to have some of these along with your carbohydrate. I didn't put carbohydrate in there because most people will eat carbohydrate every meal. Other things to avoid. Watch out for chemicals that set off cravings. Artificial sweeteners. Even if they are artificial, they still send the brain the signal that, hey, there's something sweet there. That's sugar. It's still going to, brain doesn't know the difference between sugar and sweeteners. So a lot of people are saying, well, I'm drinking Diet Pop, I'm using Equal, or I'm using Splenda. Those things can still set off those cravings. So be mindful if you are using some of those things. Don't use a lot of them. Don't start dumping packet after packet. They're thinking, I'm good. This isn't real sugar. Your brain doesn't always know the difference. High fructose corn syrup is another one. Really watch out for that too as well, because that can also be another trigger to set off those cravings. So watch out when you're reading your labels. Look for those things. Try to get off the sweetener kick. That's another big thing. I think a lot of people have kind of gone to that, knowing that, well, I can't eat sugar, but that still can play tricks on your brain. Your brain controls your pancreas, which controls your insulin output. Do not wait until you're hungry to eat. I hear people say, well, I don't want to eat my snack, I'm not hungry. You're not hungry now, but if you wait a couple more hours, that might change real quick. So eat a snack. Don't wait till you're starving. Eat something small in between, but eat something, okay? And celery isn't a snack, so a snack would be like almonds and fruit, hard-boiled egg, maybe and some, fruit or yogurt mixed with some fruit. Like hummus, I like to do hummus. Hummus is a great garnish of hummus and cut up some vegetables. Those are just some basic examples. Some natural peanut butter and things like that. There's actually a good company you guys might want to. If you guys like crunchy snacks, there's actually a company called K's Naturals. I think they might even be from Minnesota, but they have actual chips and pretzels and things, but they put protein and fiber and things like that in there, and they actually it tastes really good. They actually used to have them Max Muscle over here, but I think Valley Foods might have them. I keep forgetting to look when I go over there. So that's another thing. If you go, I just need that crunch, that's another alternative you can use. Carry your snacks or meal replacement bars. A lot of times we tell people to look for a good meal replacement bar. Just make sure it doesn't have a lot of sugar or it's not out of balance. I mean, the old Power Bars, the original meal replacement bar, typically had 50 grams of carbs and 4 grams of protein. And going back to our formula, if we're trying to keep things at a 40-30-30 balance, that's very unbalanced. That's 200 calories from carbohydrate and 16 calories from protein. So it's not a very balanced meal replacement bar. A lot of them have gone to a 40-30-30 mix or a lower, kind of more balanced carb protein mix. Just be mindful that they don't have huge amounts of sugar. So if you see a bar that has like 25 grams of carbohydrates and 20 grams of sugar, that's probably not the best choice for a meal replacement bar. Really what you do is you have to try different ones to see if you like them. Because taste is always it's an individualized thing. There's also some good meal replacement shakes too, out there too. With meal replacement, when I say that, people always use the term protein shake. Meal replacement means it just contains carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And good ones will actually have some fiber in there as well. So make sure that you carry things with you, and always carry a little bit extra, because you never know when you're going to get stuck somewhere. So you got to be kind of a step ahead of the game. This is about planning. To be successful at nutrition, you have to plan ahead. You can't go through the day being reactive. It's just going to be really hard. So you got to have a plan going out, and it's always good to plan your meals. So set a